I don't recall.
Do you know if Mr. Stapleton wrote checks on your behalf?
I don't recall. I doubt it.
Can anyone write a check on your behalf for your money other than you?
Probably.
You may want to run that down.
Probably.
Okay. Is there a business account or relationship that Dr. Ferrari would have been paid from rather than from your personal funds?
I don't think so.
Okay. Can you offer me any guidance or information as to how you paid Dr. Ferrari? By check, by wire, from you personally, from
Perhaps all of the above.
Can we say perhaps? Do you have any recollection as to how you paid Dr. Ferrari?
All of the above.
Check, wire, cash.
Not cash.
Okay. But either by check and or by wire.
Yeah, what it had to been.
Okay. This is not really a collaborative process, unfortunately. I mean, I'm only wanting to get your recollections. Either you know or you don't.
Yeah,
we won't be able to
the
reach
best
a
of my
consensus on
recollection,
this.
it would have had to have been either one of those.
Okay. And is there a written agreement at any time with Dr. Ferrari that
No.
you had? One of the individuals who testified at the criminal trial, Philippus Smioni, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. You know who he is, correct?
Correct.
Do you have any knowledge regarding the truth or falsity of the statements he made in that trial?
I wasn't at the trial. I don't really know him. The bits and pieces I picked up seemed to really question his testimony. I don't think his, and as the judge I even think said afterwards, his testimony wasn't very reliable.
Have you ever described him publicly as a liar regarding what he says Dr. Ferrari did with him?
So obviously, he says I was quoted saying a lie. I basically said he wasn't telling the truth, which is...
But do you know some of his specific testimony regarding Dr. Ferrari telling him to use EPO and when to use EPO? Do you know whether that's true or false from your own personal knowledge?
I wasn't there.
Okay. If that was true, just pause with me for a second, if that was true, would you have severed your relationship with Dr. Ferrari if you knew that he had in fact recommended to another cycling athlete to use EPO?
If I was sitting in the room and saw that happen, you mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or if that athlete told you?
Simeone?
Yeah.
No, because I don't trust Simeone.
Do you know any other...
Simeone was trying to get a lesser sentence. Which he did. 2 years to 3 months.
So is it your belief or feeling that Mr. Simeone exaggerated testimony about Dr. Ferrari to cover himself?
Yeah.
Okay. And your basis for saying that, other than not believing him, what is your basis for saying that?
Well, the problem with Simeone's testimony was that they confiscated his training log, and he had been doping for 4 or 5 years before he ever met Dr. Ferrari.
Do you know if Tyler Hamilton ever used Dr. Ferrari?
I know they would have met each other. I don't know to what extent they worked together.
Did you ever discuss with Tyler Hamilton training techniques with Dr. Ferrari?
With Tyler Hamilton, with Ferrari?
Well, at one point in time, you and Tyler Hamilton were teammates, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember how many years that was? How long were you guys teammates?
No, we would have been 3 or 4 years, I suppose.
He's gone by 04, right?
He's gone by 03.
Okay.
I think he left in 02.
But he was a teammate for at least some of your Tour de France victories.
Yep.
Fair enough? Okay. Do you know if during that time period he used Dr. Ferrari for training?
I don't know. I know that they knew each other. I'm sure that McKelly would have tested him.
And did the two of you, Tyler and you, ever talk about your experiences or training that you were having with Dr. Ferrari? Here's what he's doing for me, here's what he's doing for you, that kind of conversation.
Testing?
anything about your relationship with Dr. Ferrari?
I don't remember.
Did Tyler Hamilton ever tell you that Dr. Ferrari had suggested that he should dope or outline for him the use of illegal substances and products?
That never happened. I would have remembered that. I don't.
Do you have any knowledge as to whether or not Tyler Hamilton was using illegal substances while he was your teammate?
Not that I ever saw.
Now, he's since been tested positive, correct? And you are aware of that?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's an issue there. I don't know what's the status of the appeal in front of Cass, but
Okay. But do you have any knowledge of that test other than what you know from the public? Have
No.
you spoken with him about it?
no.
So if in fact that positive test result is evidence of doping, then he must have done it sometime after he left your team.
Well, he didn't dope, to the best of my knowledge. Of course, I didn't sleep with him. He didn't do it when he was with our team. You know, some of the facts or some of the tidbits of the case you read now are that he was repeatedly warned by the UCI, and I don't think he was ever warned when he was with us.
Okay. But you didn't. There was no evidence you ever saw with him that suggested that he was using illegal substances.
No, nothing.
Okay. There's been testimony by Stephen Schwartz. Do you know who he is?
I do.
Regarding a discussion had in the 94 time period involving you, Frankie Andrew, about the need to start a doping program.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of Mr. Schwartz's testimony in that?
I'm aware of that quote, yeah.
Okay, that allegation, I'll say. You're aware generally of the substance of that. Okay. Is that untrue?
That's 100% false.
Is there any aspect of truth to his statement? And by that I mean, was there a discussion about doping in any way with Mr. Schwartz?
The only aspect that is true is that he was on the team. Beyond that, not true.
So in the 94 time period, there was no discussion that you're aware of any shape or form with Mr. Schwartz or Mr. Andrew about even the need for the possibility of considering a doping program?
I don't ever recall that happening.
Are you aware of Mr. Andrews' testimony regarding this subject matter?
No.
Have you seen that? Okay. Why would Mr. Schwartz offer that testimony?
I have no idea.
Does he have any particular grudge or anger with you that you're aware of?
I have no idea.
Have you ever discussed with him his statements regarding this supposed conversation that took place where you discussed the need for a doping program?
No, I would have no idea how to get a hold of him.
Okay. During that time period, this is a 94, 95 time period, were you aware that other cyclists, professional cyclists, were doping?
Well, again, I didn't sleep with anybody. I didn't live with anybody, so doping in sport has existed since the original Olympic Games. So, hypothetically, could you say that? Yeah.
Well, not hypothetically. I appreciate that testimony. I'm talking about now actually during that time period.
Did people test positive sometimes? Yes.
You know, did you have suspicions regarding the use of other professional cyclists regarding doping based upon their performances in races, for example?
No, that's not my style.
Okay. Mr. Carmichael's been a coach or an advisor for quite some time.
Yes.
Do you have a business relationship with Mr. Carmichael today?
Yeah. I'm on the board of this company and part owner.
Okay. And what company is that?
Carmichael Training Systems.
Where is that located?
Colorado Springs.
Do you know if Mr. Carmichael was ever involved in any doping in connection with any athlete he's dealt with?
Not that I recall.
Do you know the particulars of his dispute with the Mr. Strock?
No, I don't.
Do you know who, when I say Mr. Strock, Greg Strock, who I'm
Oh,
referring
yeah.
to?
Well, I know Greg because he was on our national team long time ago.
Are you aware of an allegation by Mr. Strock that he was given performance-enhancing drugs or substances without his knowledge or consent?
I am.
Do you know if there's any truth to those allegations?
I have no idea.
Have you ever
Oh,
discussed with
did he
him?
make the allegations?
No, the truth as to what he's saying. Do you know if it's
Oh, I
true
would
or
have
false?
I would have no way to know.
Do you know if Mr. Carmichael has been alleged by Mr. Strzok to be one of those individuals?
I have no idea.
You were a member of the United States Olympic cycling teams in the years of '92. Is that right?
Yeah, 92.
Is that the Barcelona games?
Mhm.
I got that right. Any other Olympic teams you were a member of?
96.
96.
2000.
Okay. Was there any positive test of any sort of you in connection with your participation, either training for or participation on the '92 U.S. Olympic team?
Absolutely not.
Are you?
How would there have been a positive test and I'd be racing still?
Let me ask it this way. Are you aware of an allegation regarding, first of all, do you know who Joan Price is?
I have no idea.
Are you aware of an allegation regarding the existence of a list from the 1992 Olympic team containing athletes' names who tested positive from the Olympic team?
Not that I recall, no.
Did they test you for?
But I'm all ears.
Okay, well, all right. I have heard from others, or someone, I can't remember, that there exists a list that has the names of athletes who the United States Olympic Committee tested positive in connection with the '92 games.
Tested at the games?
Well, tested in connection with training for the team,
I wasn't tested.
okay, or participation on the team.
I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but I don't think I was tested.
That was my next question. Were you ever tested by USOC in connection with your participation in '92?
I mean, Christ, it was 14 years ago or 13 years ago. Maybe I was. I mean, perhaps at the Olympic trials, which would have been not long before, but I have to think if I tested positive, I would have been notified. And I was never
I
notified.
assume so.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I've been told by one person that your name and the name of another prominent athlete is on that. I assume there's no truth to that allegation that you're aware of.
This is news to me.
Do you know who Wade Exum is?
No.
Never heard of that name either?
No, I mean, the name starts, rings the bell, but I don't know. I've never met that person that I recall.
Okay. I realize it was quite some time ago, and I realize I'm dealing in, I'm not telling you where my information is coming from, so I appreciate you struggling with it, but I just want to know if any of that rings a bell with you, at least with those people.
No. Oh, the only thing I'll say is that I would think if I was positive, I would have been notified.
Well, let me ask you about that with respect to testing. As I understand it, we're going to talk about this in a second with respect to the '99, the Lily Keep article. The testing protocol would be to test an A sample, and if there was a positive, to then notify the athlete, have them either present or a representative present, and test the B sample. And at that point, and only at that point, there would be a positive test result.
That's normally the way it works.
Is my understanding generally correct?
I think so. I've never had an A sample positive.
Okay, that was my first question. Was
I don't know.
I appreciate your answer. Let me ask you so I have the question. Have you ever had a positive A sample
No.
in any test you've ever taken that you recall?
No.
Okay. With respect to some of the tests, like for testing for EPO, for example, there was no testing available for EPO until, what, 2001?
2000, yeah. I think the first year the UCI used the test, which was the first sport, I believe, was in 2001.
And how is it that the athletes are notified, people such as yourself in the Tour de France, that there's now a test for X? How do you learn about that?
I don't know. In the press, maybe?
I mean, you did know.
I don't think they sent a letter. I don't remember.
But you did know, for example, in connection with your participation in the 2001 Tour de France, that they would be testing for the presence of EPO, that they had a test for it.
I think I would have read it.
Okay. So you know what they're testing for. Do you also know what they can't test for?
No.
Like when you rode in '99 and 2000 Tour de France, you did know, didn't you, that there was no test for EPO?
I have no way of knowing. You have to assume they'll test for everything.